What does archaeology look like? Hi there. Sorry to burst your bubble, but typically anthropology doesn't involve giant monsters or tombs of rolling boulder traps. I'm Rain Weinstein, graduate of USF St. Pete's anthropology program, and from what I learned about anthropology there, anthropology is more emotionally fulfilling than deadly. I continued my anthropology journey with the Truth, Racial Justice, Healing, and Transformation Fellowship in St. Petersburg. Racial healing is many things, as you'll learn throughout the course of this video. But at its core, it's unlearning racist beliefs and listening to others, both things that are very present in anthropology today. I sought to question how anthropology could continue to tie into ideas of healing and equity, and spoke with Dr. Kathy, Dr. John, and one of their former students, Kendall, to discuss anthropology in the lens of post-colonialism and community archaeology. So, I just told you archaeology isn't all Indiana Jones. Then what is it? Who's involved in archaeology? What are the steps of an archaeological dig? For our example today, I will be using the work of Dr. John and Dr. Kathy and what they've been doing for years with the Gamo people.
So I'm Professor Kathy Arthur, and I am a professor of anthropology at the University of South Florida. So I have been I've been working in Ethiopia for about 30 years now, and I have been working with one specific culture. And my focus has been on helping well, I shouldn't say helping, I would say lending my skills to blend with their knowledge to understand and record their heritage. And so I'm kind of like, I'm an archaeologist, but I'm also a cultural anthropologist, a heritage specialist. I do oral histories. Um, and my focus has really been on trying to understand not their heritage from their past and giving them a voice in Ethiopia, northern Ethiopia. For those of you who don't know about Ethiopia, Ethiopia in the north has really been where the power and the control of the state is. And the southern Ethiopia was incorporated into the Ethiopian state in the late 19th century. And so most of the histories regarding Ethiopia focus on a northern perspective of the consolidation of their nation. And so this helps round out Ethiopian history by incorporating southern narratives. I do community archaeology, and when I say community archaeology, I distinguish that from public archaeology. Public archaeology, I feel or believe, is more of a outreach program in terms of incorporating the community and educating the community about archaeology and anthropology. In community archaeology, what we try to do is we let the community take the lead on every aspect of the project. So even when I do my research grant, when I write my research grant, the ideas and the questions that I ask are generated from the community themselves. And because of this, my theoretical stance is post-colonial. That is, I am giving them the voice, I'm giving them the power as much as I can. Of course, I recognize that I live in a Western country and wealthy nation, and because of that, I do have access to resources such as grants that I can use to help document that funding can help document their histories, not only for their future generations, but for the world to see. And I think that's important for us to see how colonialism has really impacted other parts of the world, other people's lives, and continues to today. And
So archaeology has been sadly a tool of colonization for part of its history. So, is there any work that you've had to do to decolonize archaeology within itself? I know you mentioned with the grants and stuff like that, working to kind of decolonize the language and thought process behind those. But is there anything you would want to further talk about regarding that?
so absolutely. I mean, most archaeologists, I think, go into a area and they already know which sites they're going to excavate. They might talk to the community a little bit, but they really don't consult or work with the community as we have. In fact, the idea to even which sites to work on and which sites to excavate came from the community themselves. So we actually the first thing that I did was I actually did material culture studies in the Gamo area, studying stone tool technology. And it was through meeting community members there and hearing some initial oral traditions that I was like, oh, you have a very interesting history and we have archaeological skills we could lend to you if you're interested in us excavating these sites. And so we had to, let's see, to decolonize, we had to not only let them select the sites where we were going to work, but sometimes there's parts of the sites they might not want excavated. So they really get to make the decisions as we go along. They're consulted, they work on some of their sons, of the elder sons, work on the sites. They help us with interpretation of the artifacts themselves, because many of the items, the pottery, the stone, the iron, are still in use today, or were at least historically in their memories. And so to them, these are their heirlooms, right? We're looking at these heirlooms. They're not just things in the dirt like most archaeologists consider. These are heirlooms. And so they're precious things, right?
Come
Okay.
into creating this sort of research.
Yeah. So it's really transformed over the years who's been on the project. I mean, it's been since 1996 that I've been working there. And so it's transformed a lot because Ethiopia has transformed. They now have departments of anthropology and they have trained archaeologists. So on our most recent project, we have all Ethiopians working, scholars working for us. So historians, we have forestry people because we're studying the sacred forest, which are important to their heritage, as well as to their present day lives. We've had people working in soil, so geomorphologists, people doing faunal analysis, so what animal bones we're recovering, and also specialists in human remains, because at one site we found human remains. So we're really incorporating a lot of different disciplines and subdisciplines. Oh, and palynology, so looking at environmental change through time. That's one of the things we're really focusing on now, is looking at how the environment changes and how that human nature interaction. There were two conversations, and they were both with spirit mediums. And these are individuals who communicate with ancestral beings to help solve community problems. And so they're very significant in maintaining peace and order in the community. And they often go through some kind of tragedy in their life um, to attain this position. And one was a spirit medium who said to me, oh, the first time I met her, she said to me, Kathy, why does the yellow bird um, no longer sing? And I was like, the yellow bird, I don't know. And then, and then she said, you know, where is God, in the sky or in the earth? And I said, well, I think God is in the earth. And then she began to really open up to me and really communicate with me and tell me about her life. And through the narrative of her life, of becoming a Maro, a spirit medium, she revealed a completely different worldview to me. That is one in which people and their environment, the plants and animals, are interconnected with each other um, in what I would say is an ecological model, but we're talking about not just plants and animals, but stones and the sun and the lightning and the rain. All of these entities are considered living beings in their society. And she really opened that idea up to me and opened that idea up to me. And it was from there that I began to really see that not only were the items in or the entities in their surrounding environment living beings, but their homes that they built, all their material culture, everything had its own life and its own trajectory in life and went through the life cycle process. Looking at the world in terms of a world filled with other animated beings is a way to reconcile with um, a history of enslavement and feeling um, not just disenfranchised, but just having your humanity ripped from you, right? Because that's what happens when you aren't enslaved, when you become enslaved. And definitely the Borda area where I work in the Gamo Highlands is an area that is known to be a source for people um, coming in and slave raiding. And so I've often wondered if that connection with the natural world was a way of them, for them to, people around the world to kind of um, come to terms with their own position in the world and to feel a connection with other beings that weren't necessarily human because other human beings were doing horrible things to them. So I don't know if that is a but that just kind of so that really kind of opened up that new idea for me. And in conjunction with that, another spirit medium, Amaro, he said to me, he said, Kathy, we have a science of religion. Everything we do uh, bit by bit. We look at things closely, and even through in our religion, we look at things, our ideas about the world are derived from past experience, knowledge passed on, and from people looking at the world carefully. And also, and he also was saying that not only is that way of perceiving the world a scientific perspective as well as a religious perspective, but it is also bit by bit is the way that you learn, right? So you acquire knowledge through your life as you earn it, as you earn a different status. So knowledge isn't just given freely, it's given as you earn access to it. And so I think those were just the two really most important conversations.
This single, come on, during mescal time.